welcome back to the vlog. I'm here today to talk to you about someone who's very, very important to me. Meet Typhoid Mary. She is my all-time favorite comic book character. If you're new to the Daredevil fandom, you might not be very familiar with her, but let me tell you, she is one hell of a ride. So how do we get Typhoid Mary? Where does she come from? What's her origin story? Classic comic book questions. You know how in huge superhero fight scenes there's a lot of collateral damage that we don't ever really talk about? Well, Typhoid Mary is one of those pieces of collateral damage. A pre-Daredevil Matt Murdock went and was chasing down a villain. He essentially knocked Typhoid Mary into a wall, and this triggered her dissociative identity disorder, creating 3 different Marys. The first was Mary Walker, timid, quiet, obedient, good. And then the second was Typhoid Mary, and she was lustful, violent, sadistic. And she vowed that no man would ever hurt her again. And the third is Bloody Mary, brutal and misandrist. Typhoid is interesting because she's a victim of her circumstances. She's not necessarily born evil, she's just made that way. And she's not evil all of the time. In fact, so much so that Matt Murdock and Daredevil both fall in love with her. Matt Murdock falls in love with Mary Walker, her sweetness, her timidness, her kindness. And then Daredevil falls in love with Typhoid Mary and how wild and intense she is. And the thing is, Mary is so different in her different personalities that Matt, being blind, can't tell because her heartbeat is different, her scent is different, everything about her is a completely different personality. And so it's very difficult for Matt to distinguish between the two. And when he finally does, it's with a crushing sense of sadness that he realizes that Mary needs help. And so he lures Mary in with romance. Typhoid Mary has always wanted Daredevil. She's taunted him with her sexuality throughout the comics. So when Matt Murdock finally gives in and kisses Typhoid Mary in the pounding, blinding rain on top of a roof, Mary finally gives in, and she finally has this moment of saying, maybe I don't need to be so violent, maybe I can have something nice and something that I want. But it's just not to be because Matt Murdock, spoilers, tricks her and takes her to a hotel room where he leaves her as Mary Walker and calls the authorities. He forges a lot of papers, but in the end, it's enough to get Mary committed. She wakes up scared and afraid in the hands of the authorities. Matt Murdock later goes back to his office and cries himself to sleep. It's pretty bleak, but I think it's interesting because it's a look into the way that we treat mental illness in comic books, which I think is a completely different discussion that we'll have another day, because I think that there's a lot of issues there and that it's something that could definitely be improved. However, I think that Mary is an interesting portrayal of mental illness and that she's vulnerable and yet she's still really strong, and it's part of her mental illness that makes her who she is and it gives her the powers that she has. And on that note, that's your primer to Typhoid Mary. I hope that we get to see more of her now in the Netflix original series Daredevil. I know they're bringing Elektra in this season, which is going to be very exciting. So I hope that in the upcoming seasons we can see some of Typhoid. Say bye, girls! Thanks for watching, and if you check below in the description, you can find links to all of the social media and, of course, Nerd Nest itself. Till next time.